Whalawhlahi atu hane e tau wala tala tupu ke la tai me lau taong nui ke hane. Ko tau whakakuanga mai whahinga hua leo leo kua whakausia ke whahitap nei, hanga ia ke he tau tunuhia, he tau ngata pia whoki, ke he tau puhalanga hua, he tau leo leo. Ni tau se te whakatokanga nei me whahinga hua leo leo ni silani, I lalo hea whi mawhianga ke lata me tau whahi leo leo hea tu Pasifika. Tako ue pulo tu ne hoku mai ke lata me tau whakatokanga nei, ni ko mai ke whoki ke whakakismana tu e tau leo leo ke whala tau mena ni kua nāka I maama mitaki. Pa he mai whala tau leo leo ko mahuinga lai he tau whakakuanga nei, ke lang matala tolu ke tau puhala, ka ua tu ki ngahua mo tu tangata, mua tu ki tu whapirianga, mo tu whiwhirianga halo tolu, ka tau se ka tai tu hokotaki, pa ke tātu whalu tangata ke toka atu ai ke whale pouli. Ne whakau se tau whakaranga ni ki haa niafi, mo liu ki skese mo whakatutala ke tu puhala, ne ko manako ke whakaholu ki mui mitaki, mo e malikiski longe tau latu matala, he tau tangata ngahua, he whaingo leo leo, ke holo mitaki, halo tolu tau ngahua, mo e tau tangata he motu. Ko e tau whakahoruanga ngahua fuafua matangi ko mahui ngalohi ke ilohi tau tangata, mo e ko tau se whalu tau whakakuanga ke lata, mo e tau whakawhetuyanga, e whahi fuafua matangi, mo e tau tangata whakapuloa tala. Ne hoku mai tau oe pulo tau whakaku mai he kau taha sprep, ke tau se tau whakakuanga molo tolu, ke tau whahi fuafua matangi, pia whoki mai whalu tau whahi ngahua, ne kua whakaunga tau puhala utatala. Tala hau e takitaki he whahi fuafuanga matangi ko siani tasi puli he toa, mahui ngalohi ke moa, taha matutakianga mo e tau tangata whakapuloa tala, ke ilo mahine tau kakano he tau fuafuanga matangi, mo e mai ke whakahoku atu po ke tau whekau, ke tau tangata, ne kua hako muka muka ke mama. Kai ke ose tau whakakuanga ke hau nei, tō ngahua e lautul ke tālanga taha palana ke lata mo e tau puhala, ke matutaki mo e ngahua whakalataha mo e tau whahi whakapuloa tala. You're listening into Radio Sunshine's News Bulletin. Police have been in a 2-day training conducted by the New Zealand Police Force under the Pacific Policing Program to discuss issues relating to human rights and police code of ethics. New police work involves interacting with people, and they have to be aware of what rights individuals have when held in their custody, as well as how police officers conduct themselves. Chief of Police Tony Edwards says that they have drafted up a police code of ethics last year that will help guide police performance. Police rely heavily on legislation, but have also found that current legislation at times can be outdated. That also makes law enforcement difficult. The expectation is that police will be able to use what they have learned to incorporate these values into their decision-making skills when dealing with people in the community. Meteorology staff are learning the value of building partnerships with media in a 2-day training workshop facilitated by SPREP. This is one component of the Finnish Pacific project that is being implemented in 14 foreign island countries to help meteorology services to effectively communicate information to the community. The workshop looks at realizing the importance of media and using the available mediums to relay messages to the public, as well as working to strengthen the current partnerships with media outlets. The ultimate outcome from this training will be the development of a media plan for the Niuean Meteorology Service. Moving on to the region, Cook Islands Democratic Party leader Wilkie Rasmussen says his party will be challenging the results of the national elections, saying the process was mishandled. Official results returned Prime Minister Henry Puna's Cook Islands party to government with a majority of 13 seats in the 24-member parliament. Rasmussen, who lost his seat at the election, says questions have been raised about many aspects of the process, including concerns that the Prime Minister's son accompanied ballot papers back from New Zealand. The initial count pointed toward a win for the DP, but a huge surge of last-minute declaration and postal votes turned the result, raising questions of corruption. Meanwhile, the One Cook Islands movement says its 2 seats make it an influential force in Parliament, but it's still too early to discuss possible coalitions. According to the official results, the Cook Islands Party has won an outright majority with 13 seats. The Democratic Party has won 8, and 1 seat is still tied. The One Cook Island Movement MP for the Southern Electorate on Aitutaki, Tina Bishop, says the party is happy with 2 seats. Bishop says the party will not be challenging any results and will wait for petitions from other parties to be heard before making any alliances. Registered voters in the Solomon Islands will have a chance to check their names on the provisional voters list In a statement, the Electoral Commission announced that provisional voters' lists have been dispatched and are on their way to 951 voter registration centres around the country. Chief Electoral Officer Polika Paununu says it is important that every voter goes back to the place where they registered to make sure all their details appear correctly. Paununu says registered voters who registered through the out of the constituency registration centres will have to check their registrations in their respective home constituencies and wards. The Chief Electoral Officer says if registered voters believe there is a mistake with their registration, they should see their Assistant Registration Officer during the omissions and objections period. Almost 6,000 double registrations have already been detected by the new biometric voter registration system. The Electoral Commission says those who registered twice will appear on the provisional list, but their names will be highlighted in yellow. The Commission also says the omissions and objections period returned from July 24th to August the 6th. The New Zealand Labour Party spokesperson for Foreign Affairs says he has no objection to Fiji First Leader being granted a visa if it enables Fiji's September election to be more democratic. Rear Admiral retired Frank Bainimarama told media he would spend 4 days campaigning in New Zealand next month if he is granted a visa. But the New Zealand government will not say whether the visit will go ahead, despite Wellington lifting travel sanctions to those who carried out the 2006 military coup in March. The Labour Party spokesperson for Foreign Affairs, David Shearer, says the trip might push the election to be more free and fair. Solomon Islands Prime Minister Gordon Darcy Lilo has left the country to officially open 2 of the country's newest overseas missions. A government statement said Prime Minister Lilo will open the Solomon Islands Embassy in Havana, Cuba, and the Solomon Islands Embassy in Jakarta, Indonesia, during his overseas trip. The Solomon Islands mission in Havana has been operational since last year and is currently headed by Ambassador Simeon Boro. The embassy in Jakarta will be headed by the newly appointed Ambassador Salana Kalu, who left on Friday to take up his new role and prepare the office for their official opening. The two stops are part of the Prime Minister's 3-legged tour, and the Prime Minister is also expected to be in Palau at the end of this month to attend the Pacific Islands Forum Leaders Meeting. Amongst the major decisions to be taken by the leaders is the appointment of the new Secretary General of PIFS. Solomon Islander Dr. Jimmy Rogers is one of the candidates for the position. Prime Minister Lilo and his 7-member team left yesterday and will return early next month. Commercial fishing vessels using Majuro Lagoon as a transshipment port are being warned to stay within a specified anchorage zone or risk being fined by the Marshall Islands Environmental Protection Authority. EPA General Manager Laul Ali says his staff, with the help of the public, have identified vessels anchored outside the anchorage zone too close to the shores, causing a nuisance. Ali said the agency will conduct strict monitoring of vessels anchored in Majuro Atoll and will be issuing fines to all those not within the anchorage zone. Ali said EPA has received a number of complaints from residents in the downtown area of Majuro about commercial fishing vessels anchoring close to shore. During the past 2 years, EPA has issued a number of fines to fishing vessels for illegal discharge of oil waste into the lagoon. The New Zealand Seasonal Worker Scheme will be available to Fijians either after the elections or early next year. Fijian Labour Minister Jone Usamate says he has just returned from New Zealand discussing possible employment opportunities for Fijians. New Zealand is offering the scheme to Fiji after a lapse of 27 years and as such invited the Labour Minister over for discussions. Usamate met with New Zealand government officials and potential employers. Those intending to apply for the scheme should be registered with the National Employment Centre and become part of the Foreign Employment Service. Usamate says the scheme will open up opportunities for Fijians in the agriculture and horticulture sector. The new Global Sustainable Development Agenda that member states are currently working on must include specific references to indigenous peoples and the challenges they face, a group of United Nations experts stated today. The experts speaking out on the issue are Dali Sambodar, the current chair of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, Albert de Treville, who heads the 5-member expert mechanism on the rights of indigenous peoples, and Victoria Toli Corpus, the new UN Special Rapporteur on Indigenous peoples. Member states are working on elaborating a set of sustainable development goals that will follow the targets known as the Millennium Development Goals, which world leaders have pledged to achieve by 2015. The MDGs, covering a range of poverty, hunger, health, gender equality, education and environmental indicators, have been the most successful global anti-poverty push in history. Several targets have already been met, such as halving the number of people living in extreme poverty, and it is expected that more targets will be reached by the end of 2015. The working group, which met last week in New York, is tasked with drafting the Sustainable Development Goals, which will be presented to the General Assembly in September. They urged member states in the open-ended working group to listen to the proposals made by the Indigenous peoples representatives and to ensure that the term Indigenous peoples will be used consistently in the outcome document. Those are our regional news stories as well as our local news bulletin here on Radio Sunshine for today.